Hey everybody, welcome to the Mark It Down podcast. We just finished watching AEW Forbidden Door, where we had excellent world title matches from the men and the women, and an incredible lights out dark cage match. We had to watch a man get stabbed in the ear with a fork and somehow have to talk about it professionally. Let's go.
Uh-oh.
Yes, boy!
French toast is the exchange student that you have like a 3-week affair with.
Hey, we can see that you don't have pants on.
Somebody hit somebody with a pie. Do something.
Giovanni yelling we're out of time as we go off the air.
Giovanni yelling a lot of things tonight.
And welcome to the Mark It Down podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Mark It Down podcast. My name is Nick Cummings, joined this evening, I guess we're about, 6 o'clock this evening, by James Gisanti, back here once again, this time to review AEW and New Japan's Forbidden Door London, the 2025 edition of Forbidden Door. I think this is the fourth one, James, and the show continues to deliver year after year. For the record, before we get started, yes, I am wearing an MJF shirt. I just so happened to realize that it's the one it's one of the English ones, I think. I got it when I bought my op shirt. It was like a $10 extra thing to get a live one. So this is not an endorsement of that schmuck. It just happens to fit the theme. And I don't want to wear my Chelsea jersey again because it's kind of whack. Anyway, let us head straight into the main event of the evening, which was the lights out steel cage match featuring Will Ospreay, Hiroshi Tanahashi, in what is apparently his final match in the United Kingdom. Darby Allin, who we'll get to in a minute, Kota Ibushi, and a returning Kenny Omega facing off against Death Rider members Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli, Gabe Kidd of the Bullet Club, and I put the wrong thing up because it was Slick Nick and Mr. Instant Replay in the main event of the show. Because before I get into anything, they played fucking Mbop. By Hanson. All right, don't get us demonetized. I had a story about Mbop that I can tell in a minute, but is this their original song, James, or something?
Yes, it was like their indie music. This is what they came out to 20 years ago.
So, very quick side note. When I was in college, shout out Fairfield, go Stags, they used to play this song on a loop in the cafeteria to force us to donate to a charity that they were trying to raise money for every year. I hate this fucking song.
It's fun. Don't be a hater.
No, it's not that I hate. It's not that. It's that I had to hear it on a loop for a month every year for 4 straight years. It's one of those things. They literally tortured you with it until you donated, and it took us, we were poor college kids. Well, if it was Fairfield, maybe not poor college kids, but they would just play it on a loop for a month straight, and I can't deal with that anymore. It gives me PTSD. Okay, anyway, on the other side of entrance things, you also had Will Ospreay getting a very big entrance with a very cool video narrated by one Alex Windsor. So I very much like that. And then I liked his robe as well. It said attack for the next generation, which I thought was cool. And of course, he immediately climbed to the top of the cage. Also, side note on the Bucks again, they had the BTE link for YouTube. We're so bad.
Did you see that they uploaded their first video in 11 months yesterday?
Yes, did you not see me send everything stops in our chat the other day?
I didn't see it.
Because they had to rename the EVP trigger, and they just made jokes about it for 2 minutes. And they're like, why don't we just do BTE trigger? So I think we're getting new episodes of BTE, and as a former famous star of BTE, James, I'm guessing you're very excited.
Oh, I am so hyped. I haven't gotten a call to show up, but I'm sure it's coming.
I'm sure John Cena guy can get the call.
I'm sure it's me, Flip Gordon, Cody in terms of who's next on the call sheet.
Yeah, that seems like the order. I don't know where it is on the order, but it does seem like the order.
Yeah, right.
All right, so let's get into the actual match and a couple of notes from an absolutely chaotic match. So forgive me if I miss anything, but first big spot we had was the Young Bucks coming out, and they had demanded that production earlier tonight give them the best and most dangerous weapons they can possibly find. So Matt took a bag and revealed it to be a bunch of gummy bears, which was great. Tanahashi promptly sent Nick face first into them, and then Kenny shoved a bunch in Matt's mouth, and then he ate a super kick. As we were talking about before, James, in the middle of the match, Jon Moxley taped Darby Allin to a chair and then shoved a fork in his ear.
We've seen a lot of ear torture in wrestling over the years, particularly, I guess, when it comes to Jeff Hardy.
I was going to say, Darby just had atop Jeff Hardy getting a screwdriver stuck through his ear gauge.
But this was worse.
Yeah.
Right? This was worse.
Well, because, like, there wasn't any, well, quote-unquote, like, actual, like, skin penetration there. I'll put it that way. With Jeff Hardy's, like, at least, like, they just put it in his ear gauge and turned it. Like, I can turn my gauge, my earlobe. It doesn't hurt that much. He got stabbed in the ear. All I can think of was Fight Club. The ear. Why'd you get me in the ear? Like, what the hell?
I know I shouldn't be shocked because of the people involved. It's Jon Moxley and Darby Allin, but it was still so shocking. It was still so unsettling. I love this match. It was fun. I know what I'm going to get out of a match like this. So anybody who looks at it and is like, oh, this isn't wrestling. Oh, this is blah, blah, blah. Shut up. Like, they advertise it as such. The main event was Hangman versus MJF. This was a lights out cage match after the fact. So if you're not for it, it's not for you. This was great. It absolutely delivered on what it was promising to be, which was a fun, chaotic, destructive match. And yeah. I think this, like, yeah, we're going to focus on the ear thing because Jesus Christ, but there was just so much good in this matchup. And I got to give it to, like, we're joking at the expense of the Bucks, absolutely, but realistically, the Bucks killed it in this matchup. Don't know if you can see me or if you could hear me because I'm having internet issues. But the
came
Bucks,
back, you're good.
But the Bucks were absolutely the MVPs of this matchup. All right, thank you. The Bucks were absolutely the MVPs of this matchup. Not the EVPs, they were the MVPs of the matchup. They were involved in so many good spots. They were involved throughout pretty much the entirety of the match. So just a really, really, really good showing from the former EVPs, Matt and Nick. It was great seeing Kenny back. It was great seeing Kenny. Like, we haven't really seen Kenny since he lost the title to Okada.
No, we haven't at all.
Jerky
What's up, Jerky?
So we
Danny
haven't seen
and Eric
Kenny
as well. In the
well,
chat,
I don't know who Danny is. I see it's Dan.
There's Dan. Yeah, there's a Daniel. I believe I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Kenny, the Bucks, Ospreay just absolutely coming in clutch in so many instances, just literally flinging his body at his opponents from time. Like Darby just destroying himself, whether it was with the gear, going through tables, going off the top of the whatever, just absolutely a mess. Claudio, look, I think we know the secret at this point. Pound for pound, the strongest man in professional wrestling is Claudio Castagnoli. Holy shit, he actually is. He threw Darby that if the cage didn't catch him, he was going to go probably past the announce table.
Oh, yeah, he would have cleared Excalibur easy.
So, Jesus Christ. Wow. And Gabe Kidd was like a dog or something. Like, I know, he's a war dog. I get it. But, like, his entrance was just funny as he's just literally on all fours as the Death Riders are just, doing their, like, Moxley walk and all that stuff. Great matchup where there was just so much innovation. I think if I have one note, somebody really needs to teach. I know we've known that he doesn't care about his own well-being, but somebody really needs to teach Kota Ibushi how to properly protect himself for a bump.
No. I know you're going to say
Darby.
I thought you were going to say teach Darby to not kill himself, but his mentor was Sting, and the man was throwing himself off of balconies into tables at 62 years old.
Yeah. So, no, I know better with Darby. But Kota, man, you don't have to throw your face into the ladder. You could put your hands up. You know, like you could cover just a little bit. When you take a bump and you land, you can brace yourself. You don't need to land on your neck for fun. So
it's the only part of his body that still works.
More reason to protect it. But anywho, just excellent matchup. Great way to end the show.
No, I agree. And I really like that everyone was able to get their spots in. I don't think everyone had a moment in the sun during this match, which was really awesome.
1,000%.
I want to briefly say hi to Dev as we both did the same thing.
I clicked on it too. That was funny. Hey, Dev. How are you?
What's up, Dev? Good to see you as always. Just to run over a few more spots of this match and get to the end. One of my favorite
comment from Jerky real quick. As a long-time Ibushi fan, we are here for a good time, not a long time. That was good.
Yeah, I mean, between him and Darby, the I am gonna die early quotient was very high in this match. But to do some, like I said, to run over some spots here, there was a great one where Tanahashi was going to climb a ladder to go up to the top of the cage, and Ibushi and Ospreay stopped him because it's like, dude, no, don't kill yourself. And then Will ended up going to the top of the cage and hitting a moonsault from there. But to get to the end of this, Moxley had escaped the cage with the help of one Wheeler Yuta, who then got sent through the Japanese announce table, or at least into the Japanese announce table. And shout out Excalibur pulling the two of the announcers away, but poor Despy couldn't get out of there. So
Despy was prepared. He was like, I'm taking this. I'm here for drop. I dare you. And he caught it. He ate all of it.
Yeah, so he almost died, but that ended up taking Wheeler out. All right, you got me on that one, Daniel. Dev saying he didn't watch the pay-per-view. He forgot it was on. I would go back and watch it, man. It was very, very good. I very much enjoyed it.
Very worth it. Rev, I need 1 second, so you're on your own for a second. I'll be right back.
Sure, yeah. I'm just going to run down the end of the match here. As I was saying, so Moxley, hang on, I got to fix that. Moxley was on the outside of the ring, and Darby went and chased him down and put him in a setup that Marina and Wheeler had done earlier, where it was two tables stacked upon another two tables, and Darby put him on the lower set of tables and then climbed to the top of the cage. He was getting ready, obviously, to jump off because it's one Darby Allin, and before he could do so, Marina Shafir pulled Moxley out of the tables. Darby was looking at them, talking shit and whatnot, and that allowed Gabe Kidd to climb up behind and sneaked up there, which is fairly difficult thinking about it, to sneak up, climbing up the cage. But either way, he was able to do so, and he ended up low-blowing Darby. He then put him in a chokehold at the top of the cage, and it looked like Darby was going to be in a pretty bad spot. But Darby raked the eyes of Kidd, looked down, went, fuck it, and sent the both of them off the top of the cage through the four tables. And that was the end of those two guys. And Moxley as well, he just didn't really get involved to the end of it, or through the end of it. Anyway, back in the ring, Claudio Castagnoli got hit with a Stormbreaker from Will Ospreay. And then from there, the Young Bucks basically just died. Nick Jackson was hit with a golden trigger, and then he was kneeling, and Ospreay propelled himself off of Nick's back and hit a hidden blade onto Matt. And then Omega and Ospreay combined for the One Winged Angel top rope hidden blade combo that they used in Grand Slam Australia. And then they allowed Tanahashi to go up for the high fly flow and hit Matt with that to pick up the win. And again, what is most likely Tanahashi's final appearance in the United Kingdom. After the match, there was a lot of love to Tanahashi. He got his flowers. Kenny went outside. He was the only guy who actually went and helped Darby, who somehow was able to stand, thank God. And then Ospreay was able to seemingly get his curtain call. You had the AEW graphic come up, copyright 2025, da-da-da-da-da. But they pulled the fake out And as it looks like we're going off of the air, Claudio attacks Ospreay, and that leads to the rest of the Death Riders jumping in and attacking him. They locked the cage behind them and immediately went after Ospreay's neck. As the Young Bucks, they were in the cage, they just kind of looked on. I was a little surprised that was the only thing they did. I thought they might do something, but I guess the contempt is still real. Or, at least have a look of like, really? This is what we're doing? They didn't really focus on the Bucks either way. Anyway, Marina, Shafir, and Wheeler Yuta kept everyone from climbing the cage, including the Ops, as Samoa Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Kazuchika Shibata all came down in an attempt to make the save. But as I mentioned, Wheeler and Marina keeping everyone off the fence. So that allowed Claudio to, same way he did at All In, wrap a chair around Ospreay's obviously injured neck, as the reports have been saying for the last couple of weeks or so, and then stomp it through. The cage is finally raised after Samoa Joe had to basically threaten a bunch of people to get it to be so. And the Ops went in there attempting to get the Death Riders, but they were able to slip their way out into the crowd, and security kind of kept the Ops at bay. And we went off the air with the medical team inside the slightly raised cage, trying to keep Will's neck in place, with Kenny Omega basically cursing at everybody and anybody as he tried to figure out where the hell the rest of the medical team and the stretcher was, because Will obviously was in a very, very bad way. So crazy ending here as we welcome James back to the show. Sorry, but I almost threw you back out there for a second.
Sorry about that, guys.
All good. Just finishing the recap here at the end with Will Ospreay getting attacked by the Death Riders. Obviously, to be written off, we knew that was happening, and I thought they were going to give him his flowers, but I really liked the logo fake out and then the attack to get even more heat on the Death Riders, because Lord knows Moxley didn't need any more.
See, I had a feeling they were going to do something and they were going to do a fake out only because of Tanahashi. There was a moment as everyone's leaving the ring, Kenny's helping Darby out, Ibushi's leaving, and Will's still in the ring, and he signaled to Tana to come into the ring to sort of get his flowers, because again, as you said, this is his last time in the UK. I heard them say, Tana, no, you can't.
Yeah, it was Rick Knox, because he had the earpiece. Yeah. And because, definitely Ospreay, you could tell he wanted Tanahashi to come back in the ring, and I think it was just probably a timing issue.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they probably would have let it go.
Yeah, even if it was for 10 seconds. But the fact that they wouldn't let him in the ring for a goodbye made me think that they were going to do something with Will. I didn't know what it would be, but it was going to be something. Yeah. So, it was, as my lower third says, Moxley might be a bad guy. Like, I don't know. Like, he might be. It's weird to think about, but he could be. If you're going to go out, this is a good way to go out, because you're coming back with a built-in storyline, a built-in match, him versus Mox, him versus the Death Riders. We don't know the severity of how bad things are with Will. Like, there are some reports that maybe he might need some surgery. Maybe he just needs to.
So from what I'm reading, he is indeed getting surgery. Apparently he has a couple of herniated discs in his neck. And it was one of those things where, again, reportedly tonight, there was a very good chance he couldn't do anything more to them.
Yeah.
And he could probably rehab them, but surgery is the quicker and better option.
Yes.
So it's not a fusion. It's like Copeland or somebody like that. Yeah. So there is that, but he is getting neck surgery on a couple of the discs that have been bothering him.
So obviously, first and foremost, we wish him a speedy recovery. We love Will. We want him to be okay. We want to see him doing well. So hopefully, it won't be too hard a road back. But if you're gonna write somebody out, this is a good way of doing it.
Yep.
And he went out on a great matchup. He went out on a fun matchup, and we're all just going to be really looking forward to when he comes back. And we're going to get into it a little bit more as we get more into the show, but there is something to the fact that he is one of a couple of stars, major stars in AEW, who are going to be major stars, who are going to be gone for a not insignificant amount of time, it seems. So things are definitely shaking up, especially in the main event of AEW. And we'll get into that as we continue talking about the show. But really well done. Good send-off for Will. Really happy Tana got to have his moments. I've been saying it. It hurts to watch. It hurts to say. It hurts to see. But it's very clear he's in rough shape, and this retirement tour cannot end fast enough. Like, we can't get to January. For his legacy, for him, for his image, we can't get to January fast enough.
I gotta say, man, I thought he looked great tonight, though. I know they were kind of able to hide him a bit, and obviously there were some of the best wrestlers on the planet in this match there. Like, JR called it an all-star game. It basically was. It
absolutely was. If this was Tana from 10 years ago, Jesus Christ, this team could not be beat under any circumstances.
Yeah.
But knowing who he is and knowing what he's struggling with, I could see it. So I care more about him. I don't really care about the image. I don't care about anything else. I just want him to be okay and get to January in time. So, but yeah, he had some great spots. I'm glad they let him be the end of the match. I'm glad that he got the win.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be. And yeah, really, really good showing from everybody.
Yeah, because I agree. Like Jorky's saying in the chat, like it's an absolute shame they couldn't let Tana get into the ring with Will, but he did get his moment. His music played. He got the pin, so he was able to get that before they ended up doing all the stuff with Ospreay and the beatdown afterwards. I did want to point out something that Jorky also said earlier, saying the Bucks have never contributed to society.
Hey, they're good Christian boys, and Christianity has never led to anything bad in society.
Not that I'm aware of, but I do want to say this bum Young Bucks thing that they've been doing, as people have been calling it, I have loved this run from them because this is the level of them taking the piss that I fell in love with back when they were doing BTE. You know, like when they were the spot monkeys killing the business. This is almost like the reverse of that almost in terms of like now they're not terrible, but they're at the bottom rung of the ladder again. Yeah. And I think it's such great character work from them. I could not stop laughing at their intro, and then I could not stop laughing at the gummy bears, and I really just haven't stopped laughing at them in the last month or so since All In, and I'm loving what they're doing. And I'm telling you, they're going to be faced within the next year and a half.
And it's going a long way into getting people back on their side a little bit. And it doesn't hurt that they're probably putting on some of the best matches they've put on in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So just really happy to see them. And one last note, because I do think we need to move on a little bit. We're seeing a lot of Death Rider loss. And it's overdue, obviously. You know, their reign at the top is done. Mox is not the champion anymore. They don't have any gold in the group anymore. And they're still obviously a threat, as seen by what happened after the main event. They're still a threat by obviously just who they are. But I'm happy to see they're not getting these wins. I was really worried they were going to get the win tonight. I really thought it was a possibility.
Really? I didn't. I thought there was a chance, but I was just like, I think it makes more sense if they lose.
A match like this, nobody is hurt by the loss. If the Death Riders got the win over the baby faces, it sets up for what will come next, which is the baby faces each getting individual wins over them. But I'm happy we got the baby face win. I'm happy the good guys were triumphant, even though, we got the Empire Strikes Back ending with Ospreay. But yeah, it was great. It was great. And I can't think of a better way to have ended this show. Like, I know there will be some people that will say that one of the world titles should always end the show, but this was a great, great way to keep the crowd going in the end.
Yeah, well, lights out, I mean, literally has to be the end of the show.
No, but there's really nothing about this that needed to be a lights out match. It was just a cage match.
Yeah.
And they've done blood and guts in the middle of the show before.
So, no, we want to do blood and guts, but we don't want to have the awkward setup of two rings the entire night.
Yeah, that's exactly 1,000%. Yes.
That's why the cage was so fucking big.
Well, no, they've done this with cage matches before.
that big. I get
that'll go around the ring as opposed to just the ring itself. They've done it before, but you are 100% right. This would have been a blood and guts match in another arena.
Yeah, exactly. But I see why they didn't want to do blood and guts. And I think blood and guts brings a certain level of violence that I'm sure somebody like Tanahashi might not want to be involved with. But just because, he's on his way out wrestling-wise. So, hey, Jorky quickly saying that I only watch wrestling shows that have Jamie Hayter. Boy, do I have news for you.
True. You missed out. Somebody missed out.
Danny also saying women's blood and guts is going to clear. There might be actual guts. I am very much looking forward to it. I think was it Willow or Statlander pushing for it the other day? One of the women.
I think it was Willow.
And I'm hyped for that. And I'm still mad that we got screwed out of seeing the first one from COVID.
I know. Going back a little bit, comments wise, Danny saying a lot of guys will probably be banged up after this show, so we'll see who even makes it to Dynamite. But knowing we won't have Blank and Ospreay for the rest of the year is interesting. Yeah, we're gonna have a rough. We're gonna have, it's gonna be a little lonely, a little empty at the main event top. Yeah. But thankfully, we have a really good champion and some really good challengers already there.
Yeah, I like Danny's follow-ups here too, saying he's not worried because the roster is stacked, but who they choose / who steps up is going to be exciting. And I think that's a very great point because there is a lot of talent that can step up and hopefully can either get a shot at Hangman or Okada, or, and fill some real main event roles is going to be very interesting as Will and Swerve take their time off. And we'll talk about Swerve a bit later as well. But speaking of Hangman, let's get into that match. We saw Hangman Adam Page face off against MJF for the AEW Men's World Championship. Yes, I'm doing that because the champ wants me to. Obviously, a lot of stipulations with this match. The title could have changed hands via countouts, via disqualification, and MJF did not have to use his guaranteed contract to get this match. All these stipulations obviously coming after MJF threatened to burn Mark Briscoe alive.
Yep.
Just saying that.
Ear stabbings, lighting people on fire. This is professional wrestling, folks. If you don't get it, you don't get it.
Yep. Wrestling isn't wrestling. Anyway, very much like MJF's Ric Flair-esque robe, like the MJF did nothing wrong monogrammed on it as well. To jump through some of the big spots from the night, it was Isaiah Fernando. What's up, dude? Good to see you as always. Hangman hit a dead eye from the apron through a table that MJF had set up. And this is classic, why is that not a DQ stuff? But I don't know. It never is in New Japan, so whatever. Anyway, Hangman then rolled MJF back into the ring for a pin, but MJF got his foot on the rope and broke it up for the 3 count. A little bit later in the match, we had Hangman. He was bleeding after a drop toe hold into a chair and then being run to the ring post and the steps. And then MJF tried to hit a tombstone onto the broken table, which didn't break again because it's a union table and only had to break one time. And then Hangman got to a 9 count before he was able to get back in the ring. MJF went and then exposed the top turnbuckle, but as Max tried to throw Page into it, Hangman was able to reverse that and toss him into the exposed turnbuckle, and that busted MJF open, which got a bunch of "you deserve a chance." Hey, Maria, it's okay. You're allowed to be late. It's all good.
We're early. It's 6:30 Eastern time, so this is just early for us.
Yeah, we started at 6 o'clock. Hey, I love it. On a Sunday, I will take it for being here at 3 o'clock in the morning every day, and literally twice on Sunday. We then, James, had that amazing back and forth pinfall sequence that ended up in a dead eye from Hangman. I love that. I thought it was one of the best sequences of the night.
Yeah, no, that was fun. I love a good back and forth pin sequence, especially because AEW isn't afraid to actually end a match on it.
Yep.
So, like, even though that didn't happen here, and it shouldn't, in my opinion, it shouldn't have ended there. There is that, oh my God, it could end here feeling. So AEW has been very smart with how they do those sequences, and I'm grateful for it in matches like this.
Yeah, and it led to a huge ovation, which they very much deserved. After that sequence, MJF took out the Dynamite Diamond ring from his trunks and gave it to Hangman, attempting to goad him into using it, even going so far as to spitting in Page's face. And Hangman put it on, and he almost used it, but instead just grabbed Max and spit back into his face, and then threw it out of the ring near the announce table.
Sorry. I cannot tell you. There is a moment right before he spit back in MJF's face where he had that smile on. And I really thought this motherfucker is going to throw the ring into the crowd or something. He's going to get rid of this ring forever. And I was like, I know I shouldn't have expected that. I know that was me just being like a blind, naive fan. But my God, it would have made me so, so happy.
It would have been funny, but that's a lot of money, dude.
Throw out a fake one. Throw out a replica.
It would have been even funnier if Hangman did that and then Max pulled another one out of his trunks that was the real one.
He's got to have like 5 at this point, right?
I think it's been the same one every time, but yeah, probably. Anyway, following that, Hangman went for a buckshot lariat, but MJF pulled referee Bryce Remsburg into his way, so Page had to hold up. MJF then pushed Hanger into Remsburg, and they hit heads, and that allowed Max to hit a low blow and then a heat seeker. MJF went for the pin, and a dazed and wobbly Remsburg went to a 3 count, but Hangman got his foot on the ropes. And then calling back to Max's match with Mark Briscoe a couple of weeks ago, Remsburg didn't see the foot and called the 3 count, but he did not call for the bell because he was messed up because he got hit in the head. Briscoe himself then tried to come out, but he was restrained by security and even laid a few of them out. And that time, while MJF was distracted, allowed for Remsburg to come to, and he caught MJF trying to take the Hangman's foot off the ropes the same way he had done with Briscoe the other week. So Remsburg, allowed the match to continue. A little bit later, during a sequence, MJF again grabbed Remsburg and used that to hit a low blow on to Page, and Hangman was able to kick out of that. And then again, MJF distracted Remsburg, going outside of the ring, grabbing his CMLL championship and throwing that in there, which allowed him to grab his steel case contract, go in there and hit Hangman with that, and Page was able to kick out again. MJF then grabbed the Dynamite Diamond ring, which he had picked up when he went and got the contract, and he got caught by Remsburg trying to use it. So Bryce took it off Max's finger and went to throw it into the timekeeper's area, and that allowed Hangman to grab the contract, damn near break that thing over Max's head. Papers went flying. That thing is a 90-degree angle right now. Cracked him, hit a dead eye, hit a buckshot lariat, and retained his championship. And then after the match, Hangman took the contract, threw it onto MJF's basically lifeless corpse, and then stood tall over him with the title before leaving. So, James, I very much love the storytelling of this match. It was very well wrestled and just great job overall. And something I expect from these two guys being legitimately 2 of the cornerstones of AEW since the beginning, as we heard time and time again on commentary.
This was a lot. I made it clear to you on Wednesday. I wasn't super thrilled with the journey of how we got here. I didn't like every twist and turn of the match.
Same. But
it didn't matter from bell to bell. From bell to bell, this was just a fantastic matchup. These two guys are day one AEW. We've talked about it. We've seen them. They weren't, MJF more so, but Hangman less so, but still both of them were so young at the inception of AEW. And we've seen them grow as performers, as talent. We've seen them grow as stars. And my brain can't process how good these two guys are from where we saw them day one of AEW. That's not to say they weren't good in day one of AEW. But my God, these are two bona fide main event draws for AEW. And it makes me so happy to see how far they've come and how they've delivered and how they consistently deliver. As Fernando said in the comments, he believes MJF is the best heel in all of wrestling. I'd go as far as to say that Hangman is one of the best baby faces in all of wrestling.
And Maria with the great follow-up, I'm sure you were about to click it as well. MJF versus Hangman, the best AEW long-term storytelling. So first of all, those of you who say AEW can't tell stories, go look at them. Well, I completely agree. Both of these guys have had such unique and complex journeys, almost in not reverse, but like polar opposites of each other, where MJF was the super heel, became babyface for a little while, and now is super heel again, as opposed to Hangman, who was super babyface, and then became a drunk, and then got back to super babyface, but then did become a heel, even though no one really booed him. He felt at least in his soul that he was a heel, and then has again come out the other side and become a super babyface again. So yeah, the storytelling with these two guys have been great. As I said, cornerstones of this company, and as MJF called them, the main protagonist and the main antagonist.
Yes, yeah. But to the match itself, because I went into all the storytelling and the comments went into all the storytelling. God, these guys really laid it all out. I'm almost like, I hate saying this because it's so messed up, but the blood was great. And it's almost a shame that Hangman healed up because he was bleeding earlier in the match, but it must have naturally stopped. That shot of MJF just pouring blood, going face to face with Hangman, would have been so much better if Hangman was also just covered. But
I actually kind of disagree. I like the fact that Hangman kind of clotted up there because he's been through. I know MJF's have been through some violent wars, but Hangman has been through so much violent stuff. Like anything MJF could really throw at him in terms of dirty work, seems like Hanger can take it. So him being less bloody as MJF, who's trying to be sneaky, trying to, use the violence to his advantage, it finally gets turned around on him, and he's the guy leaking as Hangman looks, no worse for wear. So I kind of like that a little bit.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. I don't think either of us are wrong.
Yeah.
Like, here's my preference, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, no, like your visual also would have been great. It's just not what we got. So, but I enjoyed the one we did get.
Yeah, no, and that's totally fair. That's totally fair. But these guys just have movesets that complement each other so well. Like Hangman going for the buckshot, getting countered into the arm bar.
Yeah.
The Heat Seeker being countered into. I think he tried grabbing him for the Deadeye. There were so many good spots here where these guys, complement each other so well and flow into each other so well that it was hard to not have a great matchup, and they absolutely delivered. I loved MJF trying to play the devil here to Hangman, trying to be the devil on his shoulder. I loved Mark getting up his moment, and I hope this leads to another match between Mark and Max. I do. I really do hope it leads to another match. Bryce Remsburg might need to be docked some pay. Because if you make the same mistake twice in just a couple weeks.
The man was half unconscious.
I mean, come on. Whatever. Come on. But in all joking aside, I actually did have I don't know if this is a nitpick. I don't want to be, because I enjoyed the matchup so much. They made such a point of the no DQ, but you have to be careful with DQs. You have to be careful with DQs. You have to be careful of countouts. They made such a big thing about it. Why isn't it a DQ to put your opponent through a table?
Yeah, I didn't get that one either. I know MJF was the one who brought it out, and had they done that in the timekeepers area, I think I would have let it, I would have been okay with it a bit more. For
some reason, we've always been okay with commentary tables not being part of the DQ rule.
Yeah, because it's in the environment as opposed to you using it. Whereas in this case, I guess it was MJF the one who brought it over, and that seems to be the line with AEW where
Sure, but like Hangman absolutely set him up for it. It wasn't a defensive move.
Yeah.
He absolutely, I am going to put you through a table. I put you through a table. And then Max dropped him onto the table after it was broken.
Yeah, tombstone. Yeah.
So what's the line here? I that was something that was kind of like, wasn't crazy about that. But if that's my one criticism or my one complaint about an otherwise awesome matchup, I'm cool. I would like that to be figured out because now it makes me go back to the tag team match this weekend, or not this weekend, this last Wednesday between Brodido and FTR, where they were just setting up a table spot.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, why? You're going to get DQ'd. But maybe
also,
not.
Why there was only 30 seconds left.
Yeah.
But
maybe not. Maybe you weren't going to get DQ'd. Maybe this is okay. Maybe tables are okay and they're not part of the DQ rule for some reason. I don't know. But something I have to think about, something that's going to keep me up at night.
Yeah. Like I said, this is like New Japan levels of reffing. Like they just don't care when they use tables over there. Red Shoes level of wrestling. Or reffing.
I was waiting. Like I was shocked that the bald man refereeing this match wasn't Rick Knox.
Well, he got the main event because the Bucks, and I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm also pretty sure MJF, like he might have it in his contract that Remsburg has to do all his matches. I think he's done go and watch every MJF match. He's done almost all of them.
I feel like Aubrey has definitely been in a couple.
Yeah, no, they're friends from Long Island though. So and I think Aubrey maybe has done a few, but it's mostly Remsburg, especially with the spots where there's the bump and MJF using weapons and getting caught and stuff. They have such good timing. I think Max trusts him to be able to do all that with him.
Yeah. Let's go to the comments real quick.
I'll say there's a couple good ones.
Maria saying MJF versus no, not that one. Hangman versus MJF is Rock versus Stone Cold 2.0. That's mighty praise, Maria. I don't know. I'm with you on it, but if you love it, you love it, and I'm here for it. So good for you.
I had a similar thought, but I didn't say it because I agree with you. I don't know if it's there yet, but it's definitely like the millennial version of it.
Yeah, I'd go Swerve Hangman in that category, but
maybe.
But anyway, it's preference. It's preference. It's preference.
It also kind of goes to one of Jorky's points, which we're going to get to in a second, I presume.
Jorky TV, the journey from having to prove themselves to now just showcasing themselves. Both have had some really good journeys. MJF isn't as much of a chicken shit anymore, and Hangman is much more confident. Jorky following up saying, to hear people going from Hangman versus Swerve is the best long-term story to Hangman versus MJF is the best long-term story tells me how much Hangman is the destined face and hero of AEW. That's part of MJF's beef with Hangman. He hates that Hangman is the main character. He hates that Hangman is the hero of the group, of the story. He is almost destined to be the bad guy. He tried to be the good guy, and he couldn't be. Not the way Hangman is. So at the end of the day, Hangman is such an integral part of AEW and what makes AEW so special.
Yeah, and I think that's why people compare it to Rock Stone Cold, where the Swerve Hangman thing was long-term storytelling, but it was over 8 months, whereas this MJF and Hangman has been going on 6 years and counting.
Yeah.
Much like Stone Cold and Rock, where it went on for years. And granted, obviously, because WWE has been around for so long, it isn't the same since the start of the company, but you can almost kind of look at it as the start of the Attitude Era, and then through is Rock Stone Cold.
They're intertwined. That's really what it comes down to. You almost can't have a conversation about AEW without talking about Hangman or MJF. And you can't have a conversation about one of those guys without in some way bringing up the other.
Yeah, even if they are separated for years where they don't interact, the second they interact again, it's like, oh, it's going down again.
And then this last comment from Fernando, for now, every great baby face needs a great heel. And Hangman is not in short supply. So, we have lots of them, and MJF is right near the top, if not at the top.
Yeah. I mean, as we said earlier, one of the best heels on the planet, and one of the best baby faces on the planet as well.
Yep.
All right, let's head to our next match. Where do you want to go, James? You want to go to the women's title match, or you want to go to the top of the card?
Let's go to the top of the card because the entire show was great, but we're going to end on a high note with that women's match. In my opinion.
I like it. Did you see any of the pre-show before we?
I tagged a little bit of it. I saw some of the stuff. Like I saw the Callis family stuff. I saw some of the women's stuff, but I didn't really spend too much time with it. It was early for me, and it was one of those things that I knew we had a long show ahead of us no matter what.
I like for both of us, noon is early.
Absolutely.
I was able to catch the Ops defend their trios championships against Bullet Club, which A, I called, and B.
Yeah, I watched that too. I did watch that too. I'm kind
Very
of
happy
bummed
to
it
go.
wasn't on the main card, even though I know the main card was so stacked. But it was more about wanting to see the trios titles defended on the actual pay-per-view and feeling like Joe and the rest of the Ops deserved some shine.
Yeah, and it was cool. And then, I like them coming back later as well. So that was really cool. All right, so let's head to the first match of the evening on the main card, which saw the reunification of Adam Copeland and Christian Cage facing off against Kip Sabian and Kill Switch. I did like in Christian's entrance, it was, I don't want to say very subtle, but he added asshole to all the things that pop up on his drawing as the main one. So I like that a lot. I don't know if they'll be able to do that on TV every week.
Weekly TV, yeah, but pay-per-view, it was fine.
Yeah, well, I mean, TNT, it's TNT, so or TBS, or both. You could technically do it, but whatever. Anyway, to jump to the end of this match, Kill Switch had Christian in a choke slam position out on the apron, but Copeland was able to come over and spear Kill Switch from the apron to the floor. Sabian then came in and countered a Christian spear with a knee strike and went for a kill switch of his own, but Christian countered that, shoved Kip into the ropes, and then popped him up off the rebound as Copeland had come back into the ring and absolutely nailed him with a spear. And then Christian made the pin to get the W. After the match, Christian offered his hand and kind of did the Predator dap, the two of them. They didn't necessarily hug, but they did.
Oh, he tried. Cope tried.
Yep, Cope tried, and Christian rejected him. But so we're still warming up a little bit, but they were at least copacetic, no pun intended.
He said the thing.
That wasn't even intentional. It's just the word I chose. Anyway, Jake, I like this a lot. Good storytelling. There was a lot of, will they, won't they with Christian and Copeland, whether or not they could really trust each other. And on the other side of things, you had Kip Sabian really bossing around and almost even bullying Killswitch to the point where Killswitch was ignoring him or using him as a weapon or even at one point taking him out just because it was the same thing he went through with Christian and he just wasn't having that shit. So I like that, and it teases the future breakup, I imagine, of Killswitch probably going off on his own. Yeah. Or I did see some people say that was Jack Perry in the vignette the other week on Wednesday. So, but that being said, I love the direction of this match, and I love the crowd's involvement in this match because I would also like to know if Christian would like to be my dad.
It would be a step up, right?
Oh, yeah, massive step up.
I really hope your brother's not watching.
Hey, man. Hey, Cole Cabana, how you doing?
I really enjoyed this matchup as a long-time ENC fan, as somebody who caught the most tail end of their tag team run, and remembered their brief reunion before Edge had to retire, before Cope had to initially retire. This hit me, I was just so happy to see them as a tag team. Like you brought up, I loved all the storytelling that was here between Cope and Christian sort of finding themselves again as a little bit as a tag team. Not that they were like out of sync, but like, that trusting each other kind of thing. I enjoyed that. Kip, I'm just happy Kip has something to do. People forget Kip's been around since day one and often gets just set aside to do nothing. So I'm happy that he's doing something, whether this is, as we predicted on Wednesday, the beginning of the Killswitch babyface turn, or if this is, maybe to set up some tension between Kip and Nick Wayne when Nick comes back. We'll see. But I really, really enjoyed this. I loved that they didn't let Christian hit the spear on Kip and Kip countered it, because on his best day, his spear is not great. But to immediately follow a Cope spear through the ropes onto the outside with a normal Christian spear would have felt criminal.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they didn't do it. And fun fact for everybody, to my knowledge, to my recollection, Cope and Christian, Edge and Christian, never had a tag team finish. They would use the concerto. They would do a lot of things individually.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, I'm going to have to go in a second.
I was going to say, is your dog okay?
yeah, we have a guest over today. They never had a tag team finisher. If this is their new tag team finisher, I am so here for it.
Yeah, no, I thought it was really cool because I thought the best spear of the match was going to be that one through the ropes to the floor, and then immediately we come back with not a pop-up spear, but for lack of a better phrase, it's almost what it was.
An assisted spear.
Yeah, it looked awesome. But, and also, too, I liked the way that match ended because it was Copeland hit the finishing blow, but it was Christian that got the pinfall, and he was able to vanquish his demons, so to speak, in winning that match. All right, so do you have to go check on your dog?
I gotta go. I'll be right back.
Okay, James will be back in a second. So I will hit the comments here for a minute. As Maria's saying, Kip took a huge beating in the match. He did. I think he was bleeding at one point in the match, and he was gushing. And I don't think that was planned. It definitely seemed hard way. So he's a trooper. I still remember what the first Grand Slam. This was right when he started wearing the box on his head. And he was sitting outside, and I didn't know who he was. And I, to this day, am upset I didn't go grab a picture with him or something because not a bunch of people, but a few people who were in the know were taking pictures. And I was just like, just another stupid New York street performer. I wonder how he got in here. And it ended up being Kip Sabian. So he has been great since he started in AEW, as James mentioned. He had that weird lull there where he was wearing the box on his head. He wasn't really doing anything. But now that he has come back in a big way, and with Nick Wayne going out, obviously unfortunate, it's allowed Kip to really step up. And he, I think personally, was kind of a real MVP of this match because he was doing a lot of the big showy things in terms of being demonstrative, going after Kill Switch, forcing him around, taking bumps from literally everybody else in the match. So he was kind of the glue, I thought, that held this match together, and I loved what he did. So great job out of him, and shouts out to him. Maria also saying that she never liked his spear. Only big guys should use spears, in her opinion. Well, yeah, I guess that's fair. I mean, when you take a guy, who really, really brought the spear into the forefront, from my memory, James would know this better because he's watched more wrestling than I have, but like Goldberg, kind of being the standard bearer of the spear, and that guy just coming in and basically just taking people's heads off from his football days, going from that. And then you see guys like Edge and Christian where they're a lot leaner. I can see, where you're coming from with that, especially when you got somebody right next to them and like Rhino hitting a gore, which is also just as violent. So, yeah, Jay, I don't know your opinion on ENC's spears. I know a lot of people have hated on Copeland's a lot. Christian's is okay as well, but Maria just wants bigger dudes, Goldberg, even I guess probably Roman Reigns as well, hitting them as opposed to these leaner guys.
I never minded Cope's spear because he's such a tall, lanky guy. It feels like an actual spear being thrown.
Yeah,
Christian,
like a hunter going after a woolly mammoth,
right? Yeah. So, Cope, I never minded. Christian's is, I accepted it when Edge retired, and he was doing it to honor his buddy.
Yeah,
that was I accepted it, but it was never great.
That's fair. I mean, it is what it is. we're rolling with it at this point. It's been 30 years. We're going with it. But I gotta say, for two guys who haven't tagged together, as you said on Wednesday, James, since 2011, I think they did a pretty good job, and it was very nice to see them back in the ring together. All right, let's hit our next match, which saw Kyle Fletcher, as James steps aside again because his dog is going ballistic, facing off against Hiromu Takahashi for the TNT Championship. First thing on my notes, sneaky banger alert. I was right. This was a sneaky, sneaky banger. Fletcher ended up winning after two haluva kicks in the corner, including one of them to the back of the head that one Bryan Danielson marked out for. And then Kyle was able to he went for the sheer drop brainbuster. Takahashi countered that with a roll-up. Kyle was able to kick out, kept the hold on, and then got Takahashi back up for the brainbuster, this time hitting it for the W. And a quick note, because I mentioned Bryan on commentary. So this had a lot of different commentators because we had Bryan for most of the night except the main event. And I got to say, I loved listening to him on commentary. He was hilarious. There was a point in this match where he made a joke about Taylor Swift being interested in Kyle Fletcher because he's been so popular lately. And Excalibur goes, "Who told you that?" And Bryan just takes a beat and just deadpans, "It was Don." And I that might have, outside the gummy bears spot in the main event, I think that was the hardest I laughed throughout the entire show. But Bryan's his insight into matches, I think, is great, and his energy is infectious. He, despite being a commentator, and you can tell he's a little biased in certain instances just because he's so fresh off of being an active wrestler that, part of the gimmick is it allows those biases to bleed into his commentary, but you can hear how smart he is in terms of ring psychology and what people are doing, even in kayfabe, and then him just being a straight up wrestling dork and enjoying it and marking out the way we do. Like when Kyle hit that haluva kick to the back of Takahashi's head, he went ballistic. And damn near stepped on Excalibur's call because he was so excited that the haluva kick was hit in that unique and interesting way. So I love Bryan on commentary. Don was also there for this match, as I mentioned, but fuck him. And we had for this match and a couple other matches, Walker Stewart on commentary from New Japan Pro Wrestling. And I don't have a lot of experience with him, and I'm sure when James gets back, he can talk a bit more into that, but I very much enjoyed Walker on commentary tonight. I thought he brought a great aspect. He's a very good announcer. As a former announcer myself, I can appreciate these little things. Again, go Stags. But I liked what he brought to the table, and it honestly might go seek out more English commentary, New Japan stuff, just so I can listen to him call matches and stuff like that, because he was a great, great commentator. So shouts to him. I have filibustered for long enough in James listen. But I like this match. I probably should have taken more notes on it, but I was expecting James to carry for me. So I'm going to keep rolling, and we're going to double back if that's okay with everybody else. To hit the next match, we saw Mercedes Moné defend her TBS championship against Bozilla from Stardom, Persephone from CMLL, and the hometown favorite Alex Windsor from AEW. Let me just say, Bozilla, and I mean this in the most respectful way, is a fucking hoss. She was great tonight, and I very much liked her presentation, and I thought Stardom made a brilliant, brilliant move here, sending her over to this match, to AEW, because it was twofold. One, you get a young star that you were pushing very heavily. Clearly, Stardom is pushing her a lot over there into an international match with obviously big stakes. And then you also get her in the ring with three of the best in the world right now. And that gives her experience and, it just allows her to go in there and have a great match with a lot of big time stars from around the world. So I thought that was a great, great move from Stardom sending her over there for this match. And she showed out and showed up. So shouts to Bozilla in this match. James, I did the TNT Championship match. We can go back to it in a second. But I was currently going over the TBS Championship match, the 4-way, and I was commentating on how impressed I was with Bozilla coming over from Stardom and the very, I think, advantageous and smart position Stardom putting her in this match as a young star on an international stage with 3 great talents.
If you want as many eyes on your upcoming talent, your rising stars, this is the way to do it. Do it as internationally as possible. Get them as big a following as you can, and it's a great play. I think it could be said for all of them. Persephone as well.
Yeah.
I think Persephone also getting a nice rub from being in this matchup and looking just so upset with the finish. Sold it like the loss that it was. Like, it was great. It was absolutely great. I think so much of I think this was a fun, good match in general, but so much of the presentation made it better. Like, Mercedes' epic entrance was so fun with having all the Royal Guard carrying her championships, all 8 of her titles in addition to the TBS title.
Yeah.
So all 9 of her titles. That was very well done.
Belts, again, one of them is still the Owen Hart title, which isn't a real title.
Fair enough.
It's a trophy.
Yeah. So I think the matchup, we saw a lot of fun back and forth. You know, all the women looked really good. Windsor got a great reaction.
Yep.
The crowd was super into Windsor. And shocking. Look where they are, you know? So, fun matchup. Obviously, I think the right person won. I don't think Mercedes should lose a title like this in a 4-way matchup. She should be losing it to somebody to really get a rub. But, a good matchup.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. And just to cover the end, just because I hadn't done it yet, Windsor had Persephone in the sharpshooter, but Mercedes came in and hit Windsor with the lung blower and then Mercedes went for the pin, but Persephone broke it up and went for a razor's edge on Mercedes, but Mercedes was able to counter that into a very deep roll-up and was able to keep Persephone down for the 3 and the dub to retain her title. So I like that. I like that win. It's the AEW especially. They really do roll-up pins that I think help protect people. And Persephone, who's someone we've seen, in the AEW Ring of Honor kind of realm before. I believe they were mentioning that she had tagged with Windsor on Ring of Honor semi-recently. I agree with you. I thought she looked great as well, despite the fact she took the loss. Windsor, as you mentioned, big hometown pop. But again, for me, Bozilla was the person I think who came out on top here, even though she didn't get the W. Just what a rise, I think, to, I don't want to say stardom, and again, no pun intended, but definitely somebody who wasn't even remotely close to my radar that I'm going to be keeping an eye on in the near future.
For sure. Mission accomplished.
Yep. To double back to the TNT Championship match between Kyle Fletcher and Hiromu Takahashi, James, so like I said this before, first note I had, sneaky banger alert. This was good, man. This was really good.
It was. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I know you already covered it. So I'll get
not really. I didn't take a lot of notes. I mostly just talked about commentary.
Takahashi is one of New Japan's secret weapons, in my opinion. They've kept him in the juniors division for so long, yet he could go with the best of them, no matter the size, no matter who they are. So I had no doubt he was going to put on a great match with Fletcher, and he did. And it's so clear. We've talked about it. AEW has such an opportunity with Fletcher, who's so young, to really mold him into a star, like an actual star.
And not a star, if you will.
No, a true bona fide, honest to God star. And it's matches like this that are going to help him. Is Takahashi the highest profile opponent he could have on a pay-per-view? No, unfortunately. Like, I love Takahashi. If you're a New Japan fan in any capacity, you know who Takahashi is. So, sure, but it's how good someone like Hiromu is. It's how
much he could benefit from being in a match with someone like Takahashi. And I think he did. I think both men really brought out some great spots between each other. I love the top rope backdrop that Fletcher hit onto Hiromu. I thought that it was such it's a backdrop. It shouldn't be that big a move, but he did it with such flair. Like he spun him a little bit in the air as he did the backdrop, and it's stuff like that that's going to separate Fletcher from the rest of the pack, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So really fun matchup and a big win over a notable name for Fletcher.
Yeah. I think Don, that carny piece of shit, Don Callis, had it right on commentary where he said Fletcher's moves have snap. And I thought that was the best way to describe it. Everything he does is so quick and forceful. Snap just seemed like the perfect word to describe it. It perfectly described that move and describes everything he does. I did, James, as I mentioned, talk a little bit about the commentary in this spot because first off, we had Walker Stewart on the desk joining us from New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
And I figured you were a little bit more familiar with his work than I am, but I very much enjoyed him tonight in both this match and later in the evening. I believe it was for the Zack Sabre Jr. versus Nigel Guinness match.
No, yeah, both. I tend to like the English commentary a little more than most. I know a lot of people when they're watching New Japan opt to go with the Japanese commentary, and I understand why. There is a passion and an explosiveness there that you just can't replicate.
Yeah,
but
the language lends itself to good announcing.
Exactly. But the English commentary tends to be very strong, and I think they went with the right choice. I don't know if you remember what happened at Wrestle Kingdom earlier this year, but one of the New Japan commentators got in trouble, I think even suspended, for his derogatory comments towards AEW live on air. This was not him. This was not him. So I think choices were made intentionally here, and he did an absolutely fantastic job as a play-by-play guy. So fun. We haven't really commented on it too much because I don't think there was as strong a New Japan presence on the show generally.
Yep.
Because they were dealing with the G1 and all of that. But I love the New Japan injection every once in a while into AEW.
It's so much fun. And especially now really CMLL is more in the mix too. I wish we had a few more CMLL guys on the card, to be honest with you.
I do too. But, we're getting what we can right now. And I'm sure it might have been a little difficult bringing the Mexican stars to the UK. I'm sure it might not have been the easiest thing in the world. So, what?
I was going to say probably easier than bringing them here right now, but...
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
I was going to keep that one to myself, but you brought it out of me.
I don't think you said anything wrong. But yeah.
Stop me when I'm telling lies.
Right? But yeah, I enjoyed this, and I like I said, I enjoyed the New Japan injection.
Yeah, and to continue on the commentary really quick, and Maria re-bringing it back up. Brian crushed it tonight. I love him on commentary.
He did. I did too. There were a couple of moments where you could tell he's still getting the hang of it a little bit, because Excalibur would throw to him from time to time, and he wasn't really always prepared. Sometimes there would be an awkward moment of silence where Excalibur would have to pick up. Yeah, but in general, I love what he brings. Especially, I loved what he brought to the Zack Sabre Jr. match with Nigel. I love that, and I would love to see Brian in this role moving forward if he chose it.
Yeah, I was saying he has that great expertise with ring psychology, both in kayfabe and out of it, obviously. But, saying I don't know if that person should do this, they're wasting time, stuff like that. And then also, too, just an excitement about him. Because I mentioned towards the end of this match, near the finish, when Kyle hit that haluva kick to the back of Takahashi's head, Brian went ballistic that he hit it in the back of his head. And I was just like, I've never seen somebody so excited about a kick before. But I think it really, it's like he just loves wrestling like us because he's he's a mark, know? And I love listening to him do commentary. And I think he did a great job tonight, basically filling in for Taz, who... as he, I think, tweeted out, he just can't make the flight after his recent, was it his hip or knee replacements or both or whatever it is. Yeah. Can't say I blame the man. My knee is 10 times better than his. and I could barely make it to Ireland. So, yeah, there was a lot. That was a lot of fun there. Maria also saying nothing against JR, but I don't really look forward to his commentary anymore. It's a nostalgia thing, I think, at this point. I love hearing him. He doesn't have to carry the matches anymore, which I think is good. But I still enjoyed him tonight on the Okada Swerve match and on the main event.
Yeah,
I think they do well where they just kind of sprinkle him in.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. To hit some of Maria's other comments, she believes that Fletcher is going to be the AEW World Champion next year at Forbidden Door. It's a very bold take. He is definitely a future AEW World Champion. I agree with you there. By Forbidden Door next year, not sure. Only because they're going back to Australia in February, I believe they said.
Yeah.
And he's definitely still going to be holding the TNT title by then.
Yeah, I think so too.
So I think that would be a bit of a quick jump from February with that title to the AEW World Championship. But late 2026, early 2027? There's a door there, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Like I can see that happening. And Maria also saying, right decision to have the CEO win. She's not losing until she passes Jade's CBS title reign. So the Nikki Bella spite title reign? Is that where we're going with it?
Yeah, it seems that way.
I can see them wanting her to be the longest reigning TBS champion, though. Not as a spite thing, but just because she is that type of wrestler. Yeah, it's her.
Yeah.
So, also, did you see her and Bailey talking about going to Athena's promotion?
Yeah.
On their live stream the other day, just because Bailey wants to go see Statlander. I'm telling you, man, I can see Bailey ended up in AEW.
I think she's killing it right now with like all of these like personas sort of talking to one another kind of thing that she's doing.
Yeah, I've been trying to
get really introspective.
Looks interesting.
But yeah, I would love to have her on this side.
Yeah, I saw somebody talking, and maybe it was us. She's just done almost everything in WWE. It's not I think she hates the company, wants to get out of there. I just think it would just be so fresh for her that moving over, facing some of these women like Statlander, like Willow, etc., that it would be a great move for her just to kind of like same thing with Copeland, but similar where like just having new opponents, being able to do new things would be awesome.
Absolutely.
All right. Speaking of a match I just brought up, let's head to the IWGP World. Is it World Champion or World Heavyweight Championship?
World Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, I forgot the heavyweight part on that thing. Anyway, it was Zack Sabre Jr. versus Nigel McGuinness for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Excuse me. Nigel got a really cool extended entrance where he was getting counsel and playing some chess with British wrestling legend Johnny Saints, which was cool. Really cool. Yep, the crowd was very excited for that. And we also had one Daniel Garcia in Nigel's corner, who I will talk about more in a minute. In a classic Zack Sabre Jr. move, he was able to keep Nigel down for a 3 count after the two went back and forth in a bunch of varying pinning predicaments, something we alluded to earlier, James. So that was really cool. And then after the match, Nigel and Zack gave their respects to each other. And then Zack left, and Garcia got in the ring and gave Nigel a big hug. Nigel was also able to get his flowers from the British crowd, which was very, very cool. So this was a technical masterpiece, as we were all expecting.
Yep.
I thought the one downside to it was Garcia himself. First of all, I thought he was going to throw in the towel at some point, and that was going to lead to something. But I was dead wrong.
I think everybody was expecting the heel turn from Garcia. I think everybody was expecting the betrayal.
Kind of glad it wasn't that, though, because it would have been, obvious heel turn is obvious. So I was glad they didn't do it. But he kept getting, like, weirdly involved in the match with the referee at, like, very weird points.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a drawback to the whole thing. But other than that, like I said, just a technical spectacle from that is tough to say, from two British wrestlers in front of their people in their home country. So I was very glad that, or to borrow a phrase from my friend JT, I was chuffed that Nigel was able to get this moment in front of his home country and with Zack Sabre Jr. as well.
I agree.
Nigel is unfortunately always going to be one of the unsung heroes of independent wrestling from that era. If you were watching independent wrestling back then, of course, you know who Nigel McGuinness is. Of course, you appreciate how good he was and what he contributed to the scene back then. But unfortunately, his name doesn't get thrown around the same way Bryan's does, or Punk's does, or other people from that time period, just because they didn't unfortunately get the WWE rub. You know, like Nigel went to WWE as a commentator for a little while. That was unfortunately it.
Yeah.
Life circumstances.
Yeah, I was he's great at commentaries. I
Oh,
like
he
to
is.
run.
No, he is. He is. But you know, that's not what his dream was.
Yeah.
So I loved seeing Nigel have that moment. And I know, like, it even got brought up in our chat. It was a little weird how Shivani came in and announced the attendance record as soon as the match was over while Nigel was still in the ring almost. Like, it was awkward. I think it was only awkward because they didn't allow Nigel to bask in it.
Yeah.
Because quite frankly, this is a huge crowd for somebody who showed up. I don't want to say for him, but like, we're happy to be there for him.
Yeah. I mean, this was a match for that audience.
Yes, exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So, yeah, I almost wish they would have allowed Nigel to announce it himself. But
no,
yeah,
I agree.
It must have been a timing thing. Like, Tony got in there, announced it, and they got the hell out. And I was just like, and it was right after that Garcia hug too, which I got, but like, there was no, you know, like wallowing in it, for lack of a better phrase. Like, they just didn't let it breathe at all.
I mean, that's Tony's problems with pay-per-views in general.
Yeah.
There is no breathing in between matches. And I get it. You want to pack up you want to allow these matches to have as much time as possible. You want to pack up your show as tightly as possible with as many matches as you can. But it wouldn't kill you to throw a segment in every once in a while.
At least he's giving us those packages before the matches, so I can go, you know, take a piss and get a beer. But I mean, yeah, it's always been the problem with AEW where he's throwing in 13, 14 matches into a 4-hour-ish card, and there's nothing is able to breathe. So it's been a bit better, but this was a little clunky, I think would be the words.
But to the match itself, it doesn't sound right because of all the spectacle that was in this show. This is up there for me for one of the matches of the night. This is up there for me as just one of the most enjoyable experiences of the day. They are so good. Saying that about Zack Sabre Jr., the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, shouldn't be a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, Maria in the comments saying he's pound for pound the best wrestler in the world. Embrace debate.
I think there's a great argument for it. There's a reason New Japan has made him their champion right now.
Yep.
And to have Nigel McGuinness, who was one of the best of his era, one of the most technically sound wrestlers I've ever seen. Yeah, these two killed it. There wasn't a dull moment. Yeah, technical wrestling is not for everyone. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. It's not exciting to everyone. But good technical wrestling should be just as exciting as the most high-flying of matches and the most pound-for-pound, like punch-for-punch type of matches. And when you have guys like these two doing what they were doing, I was captivated. There was never a pause. They were always doing something. They were always doing something to get to the next part of the match and to injure and whittle down their opponents. It was fantastic. It was fantastic. I love this matchup. The ending was exactly what it needed to be. The young lion was able to outdo the old veteran. It was great. I love the matchup. The Daniel Garcia stuff was a little distracting, but I have to believe it's going to get played up a little bit more. I think they just didn't want to do it here. I think they wanted Nigel to have his moment.
Yeah.
I agree. They're going to get it.
Something is coming from that. And Maria mentioning that she thinks that Danny should have turned heel today, but I agree with you. I think it will come.
Yeah.
But not tonight. Let Nigel have his thing.
I think by All Out.
Yeah, All Out makes a lot of sense.
I think by All Out, yeah.
Yeah, no, I like you said, this was a technical masterpiece. I enjoyed. I really like commentary talking about how Nigel looks at technical wrestling like chess, and Sabre Jr. looks at it like classical jazz.
Yeah.
You know, one is methodical and the other one's like freeform with it. So I enjoyed that comparison. I like how they were playing it as, you know, the old British generation versus the new British generation, which was really cool. Like almost like a British Rock Hogan kind of type of deal. So I thought commentary played it very well. Speaking of, Brian during this was way nicer to Nigel.
And he made sure he said it. He made sure he said it too. He was like, I'm going to be nicer to him than he is to me. He usually spends my matches burying me. I won't do that here. I'll even go as far as to say I'm rooting for him.
Yep.
I loved it. I loved it.
He made a crack. I can't remember what it was, but he made a good crack that popped me.
Because he popped commentary too, because it was so subtle. He was like, Nigel is so meticulous. He plans everything. It's the type of wrestler he is. I mean, here you even see it on commentary. He comes out here with jokes written out ahead of time. And it's one of those subtle little fuck you burns that's so good.
Which is what Nigel's normally doing. So Daniel getting one, or Brian, getting one over on. Wow, flashback to 2013 there. Him getting one over was great. So, but I think it also that added to the match, like finally the reversal of fortune where Brian gets to call a Nigel match, but also that his technical expertise throughout it was, I think, insightful, which is why he was very not only welcome but great tonight on commentary.
I would strongly agree with you.
After this match, we had a segment I wasn't expecting. So from the pre-show, we had, I think it was Queen Aminata, Willow Nightingale, and somebody, Chris Statlander, face off against one other person. God, I'm blanking. It was a Triangle of Madness and Megan Bain. I don't remember who else was in it, but whatever. Didn't matter because during that match, Queen Aminata and Tekla ended up brawling into the back. And apparently they were brawling this entire time. And eventually this brawl...
It made no sense. It was great.
Oh, yeah. These are things you don't have to worry about because wrestling isn't real. Anyway, this fight eventually spilled out onto the entranceway. And Aminata won this initial battle that we had seen, a battle, going for 30 minutes, by hitting Tekla with a headbutt and absolutely laying her out. But then the other members of Triangle of Madness, Julia Hart and Sky Blue, came down and took Aminata out.
So, real quick, the match was the Triangle of Madness, Julia Hart, Sky Blue, and Tekla, and Megan Bain defeating Harley Cameron, Chris Statlander, Queen Aminata, and Willow Nightingale.
Right. Harley took off her mask and tried to beat up Megan Bain with it. Now I remember. Thank you.
You got it. As
Hart and Blue were holding up Aminata for Tekla to attack, Tekla got into her spider pose, which is awesome, by the way. And then fucking Jamie Hayter came back and came out for this save, wrecked Hart and Blue, and then went after Tekla. Tekla was able to duck basically a Haterade, and then they all ran away. Jamie Hayter's back. I'm so excited. She is the best. I'm just very glad she is healthy.
I loved everyone. I loved every woman in this match. I loved every woman from the pre-show. And I love this. I love Aminata. I love her having this undeniable feud with Tekla.
That's great.
We don't know if it started legit and they're like, let's turn this into business. I don't know, and I don't care. It adds to the drama. And then having Jamie Hayter here, come back here, was perfect. The crowd could not have been louder. The crowd could not have cared more. They were so into it. She looks so good. I'm glad that she's back. I want her to have a concentrated push if possible. I know it's tough because so much is always happening, but I just love her so much, and I feel like she needs that shot back. We talked about it a little bit earlier in the comments with Dan and Blood and Guts. What?
No, just you calling him Dan is just mad funny.
He specifically said I'm not allowed to call him Danny in the comments.
Fair enough. Well, that's why it's funny.
Right. So it's so crazy
when you look at this division of women, you have Willow Nightingale, you have Chris Statlander, you have Toni Storm, you have Mercedes Moné, you have Athena, you have all of these women. And yet, the possibility of blood and guts might not include half, if not more, of the names that I mentioned.
Right? Because I feel like you're going to end up with Triangle of Madness in there. So that's, and those are three very good names that you want in that match. And then you get two more women, and you're still excluding how many heels on the women's side out of that match.
Exactly. So it's a testament to how strong this division has become. It's a testament to how popular a lot of these women have become. And it's a testament to what we could see and how there's really no bad answer or wrong answer here. So really enjoyed this. Really happy to have Jamie back, and really excited for where she goes next.
Yeah, I'm trying to look for a Hangman quote here, but I'm not going to find it. But
I know about the women's division and the women's world title. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was saying like why he's been calling it the men's world championship, and he said like we not only have all of these women, we have some of these women who are as good as, or if not better than, guys in the men's division. So like it should be the men's world championship and the women's world championship. So that's why I'm going to call it that. And he's got a point, man. This division, which for years we called basically neglected by Tony Khan, has come up so strong. And we're not even like, we don't even have like Rio's not really around anymore. Sheeta's finally back in America, at least. So she might be coming back around soon. My girl, like this, Britt Baker's not a part of this division anymore. Like we are sitting here with such a stacked division that yes, blood and guts does sound great, Maria. And yes, we should get a women's tag team division ASAP. Because
I've been begging.
Because I just think we're at a point where they need that. They need stuff. I don't want to say to do, but like stuff to drive more stories, I think is a better way to put it. And giving them that opportunity, you know damn well they're going to take that ball and run with it. So please give that to them. They deserve it. Clap, 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 clap. All right, let's hit our next match. Speaking of tag divisions, it was the AEW World Tag Team Championship match between the Hurt Syndicate, Brodido, and FTR. Okay, I'm confused. One, wasn't this supposed to be an eliminator match?
See, we thought that, but I don't know that it was ever confirmed.
Everyone thought it was.
Okay. I think the reality is whether or not, I don't know how much truth there is to the backstage stuff when it comes to the Hurt Syndicate. But there were reports a couple of weeks back about the Hurt Syndicate and how willing they were to take losses, how willing they were to drop the titles to certain people. I think realistically, there's probably a kernel of truth in those rumors. And I think they wanted to establish this match as a way of protecting the Hurt Syndicate. Now, how we ended up with the result we ended up with is mind-boggling. My brain feels like it's collapsing upon itself. But here we are.
Yeah, there was a lot going on with this match. My second point, this is a three-way match, so it's no DQ, but then there's only two guys in the ring at a time.
Yeah. I hate that too. We all hate that.
Yes.
It doesn't matter the company. Unfortunately, we get it more often than not, and I think it's dumb.
Yeah. See, Maria thought it was announced as an elimination match as well. I'm pretty sure it was. On Wednesday, we checked the Wikipedia. It said elimination match. I'm 85% certain Excalibur said it on Wednesday, and then when I checked Square's Circle to do the match rundown for the description here, it said elimination match.
Yep.
So it was, and then maybe some backstage politicking went into it. So whatever. 3, notable by his absence. 1 MVP.
I think he isn't allowed to travel.
internationally.
That makes sense. I was wondering about that. I don't know his past that well, so
Yeah, I don't think he's allowed to travel internationally.
right. Okay, so let's get into the actual meat of the match, which we did get because we got Brody versus Bobby, which was awesome. Big meat chance for that.
Oh yeah.
But jumping a little bit further into it, we had Brody accidentally teaming up with Cash to hit a Shadow Machine onto my man Shelton Benjamin. And then they teamed up to hit Topes on the Syndicate because Cash went for one and they caught him. So then Brody had to hit one into all three of them to knock them over. And then that led to Bandido fighting on the top rope with Dax and hitting a fall-away slam from the top rope to the outside onto everybody. Because just when I think I know the answer to Bandido, he changes the frickin' question. Bobby Lashley, a few minutes later, then hit a spear, but two masked men in New Japan tracksuits came out and attacked the Herd Syndicate. They eventually revealed themselves to be the Gates of Agony and
GOA, sir.
Oh, it's just GOA now. Well, whatever. Either way, it was them. And Brian had a very good point pointing out that they were running with MJF on Wednesday, so it's possible that he paid them off. Maria also having the same idea as well to take out the Hurt Syndicate, following MVP saying that should MJF win the world title, Bobby would be coming for him. And then Excalibur also brought up the point that Ricochet had been rejected by the Hurt Syndicate when he first showed up in AEW. So
I think it's a combo of both. I think it's MJF paying off a guy who already has a grudge.
Exactly, which is what they did on Wednesday, the enemy of my enemy with money. Meanwhile, back in the ring, Dax hit Brody over the head with a chair. I mean, just absolutely cracked him one.
Yeah, that was an unprotected chair shot to the head.
I know they gimmicked those chairs, but ow. Brody still was able to kick out of that. FTR then tried to set up Brody for the Powerplex, but Bandido pushed Cash off the top rope, and when Dax hit the Superplex, Bandido then hit Dax with a Frog Splash, and here's where everything went awry for the finish. Bandido and Brody have that finisher where Brody uses his feet to launch Bandido into the 450. Bandido didn't hit it super clean. It happens. It's a difficult move.
And he landed most of it. He landed the move itself. He landed well enough.
It was one of those things where his knees hit first. Mostly like when a guy is protecting somebody on a 450, the knees hit first, so it doesn't look perfect. But whatever, we can move past that. However, somewhere during the 3 count, Bandido either slipped or fell off Dax. Whatever happened, the count got broken. And while that's happening, Cash was attempting to go and break up the pin. And I presume the plan was that he was going to be late, the bell would ring, and he would miss out on breaking it up. But because the count was broken by the referee, Cash then had to pretend to slip, and Brody kind of jumped in and tried to cover it as well. And Bandido had to recover Dax and then get the 3 count. So they done goofed Aaron. It was a bit of a mess there at the end, which sucks because this was a great match up until that point, and I feel like this is going to be the talking point, ignoring all of the great things that happened during it.
When bad finishes happen to good matches, it's rough, because unfortunately it's what people end up remembering the most.
Yep.
People don't always. Yep. Yeah. People don't always dwell on botches that happen middle of the match. Like, it'll get brought up, but it doesn't become the talking point. But when it's the finish of the match, it unfortunately just becomes too hard to ignore. The matchup was great, and it really is a shame that the ending was fumbled as badly as it was, because it just looked bad. It made the referee look bad. It made Cash look bad. It looked bad. All that said, I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. My brain cannot process that Brodido won the tag titles. They set up a tag team tournament, and a created for the tournament tag team won it with no storyline.
I gotta say, I wonder if this is a pivot because they were, again, we were talking about this on Wednesday. Their chemistry, both in the ring and on camera, is undeniable. The crowd loves them. And perhaps with the backstage politicking, maybe this is what ended up coming out of it.
And it's very possible. I'd go as far as to say it's likely. Because for them to end the tournament in a draw felt weird in itself.
You'll get there.
I'm struggling. I'm genuinely struggling.
It's mind-boggling.
All that said, I'm very happy for Brodido. I'm very happy for that team. Brody getting a big win on pay-per-view is awesome. Bandido getting a big win on pay-per-view is awesome. I'm more confused as to what happens next because I had it in my head, and I think you did too. FTR were winning these tag titles to just drop them to Cope and Christian.
Yep.
Now it's like, where do we go? And I think that's exciting. I like it being kind of exciting. And you know what? Maybe it's as simple as FTR just have a one-on-one match and they beat them. But I almost don't want that because they couldn't beat them in the tournament and they lost to them here. Why did they get a title shot? So, yeah.
Exactly. And I think we still get that Cope and Christian versus FTR match. And now it's just non-title. And I think that's totally fine. On the other side, like, this isn't the first time we've seen a Franken team come out of nowhere and win the tag titles. Swerve in Our Glory, got put together kind of randomly and ended up winning the tag titles.
I get that, but there was also a story built in that these guys don't really want to be a tag team.
Yeah, that's fair.
These are just two guys that, all right, we're teaming up right now.
Yeah, but I'm okay with it. And you know why? Again, this is something we kind of discussed on Wednesday. It's a real nice shot in the arm for the tag division. Brand new team. Again, the crowd loves these dudes. And now they're the champs. And we're going to have fresh matchups. And we'll see, who ends up, facing them in the near future. But I'm excited to watch these guys go out there and, frankly, just win. I want to root for Bandido. I want to root for Brody. And the fact that they have not only won the tournament and now won the titles, but they're hopefully going to win a few more matches defending these titles. I'm excited to watch that because I love rooting for these two guys. Because I think, as Maria said, Bandido is one of the best wrestlers in AEW. Brian said this on Wednesday. He's had one of the best years in AEW so far.
It's true. Winning the Ring of Honor world title, having banger after banger after banger, now winning the AEW tag team titles. The guy's killing it.
Yeah, exactly. So, Murray also saying he's going to stand out as a huge star with Will and Swerve gone. And it's one of those things where he's in the tag division at the moment but I still think he might be, depending on how long they are out, one of those guys who can step up and be in the upper echelon of the card. So, and Brody too, if they still want to do a couple of singles things while they have the tag titles, I'm totally okay with that. But so like, I'm excited to see both these guys in prominent positions moving forward.
Exactly.
Yeah. Maria also saying that Bandido should have just went on Dynamite and that FTR. Yeah, Brodido. And then FTR will win the tag championships on Dynamite in a few weeks. I'm going to disagree with I'm going to disagree with both points because I think.
Yeah, I am too.
The first one, I think, is the backstage politicking most likely.
This is to protect the Hurt Syndicate.
Yeah, and which
protect them.
I do agree with. I agree with protecting them. Yes.
To a point. Because they are the tag team champions and they've been dominant. Losing to a team to become the new champ, it's the responsibility of the champion to drop a title and make the next team or make the next champion/champions look good. So I don't know how I feel, but whatever.
And I personally am hoping they hold on it for a little longer and don't immediately drop it to FTR. I think that would be helpful. Especially since, like you said, they just beat them.
Yeah.
All right, let's hit our next match, which saw Kazuchika Okada face off against Swerve Strickland for the AEW Unified Championship. Now, this was fought under Continental rules, so technically no one was allowed at ringside, aka Prince Nana. But Don, was able to skate because he was able to get on commentary because he's a corny piece of shit. Swerve came out with Mr. Terrific gear because he is just trying to be the model for every DC superhero, apparently. First, it was Static Shock. Now this. But the main story of this match was Swerve, his knee. It was something that's been reported. He has had a meniscus tear. Oh, let's hit the comments real quick. Hey, Judge, good to see you. Do you think the ref winged it because of the botch in the tag match?
No, I think the result was what it was always supposed to be. I just think they fumbled across the finish line. That's really it.
It was one of those things where because refs have to call it as a shoot, Bandido legitimately was off the pin of Dax, so the ref had to stop his count, and that's what goofed everything up. So that was not on the ref. That was just on unfortunate placement from Bandido. I presume I would probably need to see another angle to see what.
Yeah, I need to rewatch it, but I put a little bit of it on the ref.
Yeah, because it was on the hard cam, so we couldn't see where did Bandido fall, when did he fall, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, as I was saying about this Unified Championship match, the story of it was Swerve Strickland's knee. Obviously, there have been the reports that he's been working on a meniscus tear for like 6 years or something crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
So they wrote that into the story this evening. Okada attacked it. He tweaked it on a Swerve stomp. And then that cost him a pinfall, and Okada was able to kick out. But the ending of this match, where after hitting a house call from pretty much out of nowhere, I think it was following an Okada dropkick, which picture perfect as always.
Always.
Swerve went for another house call, but Okada was able to duck it. And then Kazuchika grabbed Swerve and hit a Rainmaker to retain his title. Now, James, love this match. It was awesome. I still feel like there's another gear these two guys get a hit, but maybe Swerve's knee is a little bit worse than, just recently than we've thought. Or I don't know, but it was still a great match. Definitely in the upper 4 stars, but there was that 6th gear I was looking for from these two guys that they know they can get to, and they just didn't get it.
And I'm sure they will in a rematch because what came after obviously sets up so much for him down the road. But, I agree. I thought this was a good to great match that could have been a great to phenomenal match. But it was still very enjoyable. But both men did a lot, and I feel like not a crazy amount of time. Let's see how long this match was. It was, longer than I thought. It was 16 and a half minutes.
Sounds about
right.
But
it felt shorter, but it still felt jam-packed. So, yes, I think both men are absolutely capable of hitting into a higher gear. It's Swerve Strickland. It's Kazuchika Okada, obviously. But I do think they brought a lot to each other. I think there were some great counters. I think there was some great back and forth between the guys. Swerve, even in defeat, looked great. He looked so like it was just he missed.
Yep.
And
Okada's ring awareness.
Yeah, it's very well played, and Okada just looking like the Okada we've been waiting for in AEW. I think we've seen a string of incredible matches from Okada this year, whether it was Speedball or Kenny or Swerve here. He's just killing it. He's just absolutely killing it.
Yeah, Okada if we're going with 6 gears here, Okada in 5th gear is still better than 99% of the wrestlers ever. So him, even if this is him not giving it his all in anticipation for setting up future matches with Swerve, then good Lord. I think we say that mostly with Okada, but man, so I agree with you. I think they held a little bit in reserve so that they could set up future matches, which I desperately want to see because I want like a 30-minute banger out of these two guys.
And we know it's going to be great when they do.
Yep. Before we get into the post-match briefly, Maria saying that in hindsight, Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland should have lost at All In.
I'm going to disagree only because of the Bucks.
Yes.
I've seen this thought, Maria. You're not the only one who said this, so you're in good company from what it seems. Well, with Will being hurt, with Swerve being hurt, the Bucks should have just won. This is about the Bucks losing. This is about the Bucks no longer being in their position. And we've seen since they've lost those EVP positions just how fun they have been in the ring, just how fun they have been storyline-wise. So, yes, it sucks we've lost Swerve and Ospreay, and they can't really capitalize on it, especially with a stipulation like if they had lost, they couldn't go for the world title. But I almost would have felt cheated if they were gone for months during that stipulation.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, it would have taken the piss out of the whole thing. Like, if they were just gone and not feuding with each other over the fact that will cost Swerve, an opportunity at the title for a whole year. Like, the storyline's there, but at the time when we were talking about it, we didn't know the extent of either of these guys' injuries. We didn't know they were going to be going out for an extended period of time. So I think in retrospect, they had probably played it properly, because had they lost, not been allowed to go for the titles, and then just went away, really would have just taken all the juice out of that stipulation.
I agree.
All right, so heading into the post-match, Okada attacked Swerve following the bell, and he put his bad knee between the steps and the ring post before slamming a chair into it multiple times. Prince Nana eventually came down for the stave with a lead pipe and ran Okada off, and Don called him a scumbag, which just popped me for some reason. Just a Don of all people calling him a scumbag. And then as Okada is backing up and Nana is able to get Swerve into the ring, and it looks like he's going to get medical attention, holy shit, Wardlow comes out of nowhere and attacks Prince Nana. He takes him out with a powerbomb and just starts raining in left and right. And then eventually security comes down and tries to hold him back. And Swerve can't do anything because he just cannot move with his bad leg after the attack from Okada. And then Wardlow destroys all the security and beats them down and hits a powerbomb on one of them as an exclamation point. And then he leaves the ring and goes up the ramp where Don Callis and Okada are waiting. And he gives Don a big old hug and officially joins the Don Callis family. The rest of the family, or almost the rest of the family, comes down to welcome him in. And then Konosuke Takeshita, the G1 winner. Thank you, Daniel, Brian, for saying that. Comes out, full theme and everything, and goes face-to-face with Wardlow. And it looks like we have a pretty tense stare down. But then he kind of gives a smile and a head nod of approval, and then goes and cozies up, with his boy Kyle Fletcher, because, they're a thing. That is a thing. So James, not only does Wardlow return, but he joins one of the seemingly, I guess, probably the second strongest kayfabe-wise and biggest faction in AEW with Don Callis, which is a very interesting move for him and the family.
I did not see this coming. In so many ways. One, the status of Wardlow was so up in question for so long. We didn't know where he was. We kind of knew he was hurt, but then we heard he was cleared. Then we knew he was filming
American
Gladiator. But we didn't know. We had no idea. And we speculated if he's coming back, maybe he's going to come back to help MJF against the Hurt Syndicate. Maybe he's going to come back and do this or this. This was not on my bingo card, but this is amazing. Because, my God, has Don assembled the meatiest team possible.
It's a good-looking team.
It's a good-looking, meaty team.
I don't swing that way, but they're a very good-looking team.
Hey, masculine men can appreciate other men.
Yep.
This was awesome. I never would have guessed this being a team. I never would have guessed the Don Callis family being as stacked as it is. Wardlow looks great. He looked huge. It looked like he had been putting some time in at the gym. Not that Wardlow was ever small, but like he looked jacked to the gills, Daddy.
Yeah,
so
American Gladiators will do that for you.
He looked great. Swerve will eventually come back for revenge, and he's got a whole slew of guys to go after. And Takeshita coming in the way he did made him feel important.
Yeah.
It made him feel like somebody, you have Okada on your team, but there's Takeshita.
The G1 Climax winner.
That's huge.
Sorry, my boy.
So I love this. I love this for the group. I love this for the individuals in the group. I hate this for Josh Alexander because he's lower on the list now. But overall, once upon a time, we would laugh at the Don Callis family. Now, holy shit. Holy shit, this is a team.
It's kind of funny where it's like the Don Callis rehabilitation program for like wayward wrestlers. This is like, well, we got this guy and like he's really good and the fans like him, but like he's not the greatest talker and he doesn't really have a direction. Put him with Don. It's like, and it'll work perfectly. And they've just done it time and time again, and it's worked perfectly because Wardlow with him is a great match. John will talk him up. John will, will be able to build his character, and he doesn't have to do anything except go out there and fucking dominate, which is what he does best. So he is the man. I liked Takeshita's approval. As you said, it made Takeshita feel like a big deal, and I'm happy for that because, again, that's my boy. And I still agree with Maria. It's come down the pipeline. Takeshita Okada for that unified championship is going to be a thing, and I think Takeshita's going to win it. Now, that is unless Takeshita wins the IWGP, but...
We've already seen this man hold titles from both companies at the same time.
Yep. I want all the good things for Takeshita, and he gets most of the good things, so keep giving them to him. Very happy for Wardlow. I agree. I think it's a great position for him. I'm very happy he's back. Maria saying that Swerve should return when he's healthy for revenge with Keith Lee.
I've been calling that for a long time, but who the fuck knows what's going on with Keith Lee?
Yeah, he plays his cards pretty close to the vest. A lot of people have always been speculating the health thing, him, post-COVID and stuff like that. But who knows? And it's his private business. If you don't want to put it out there, then we won't speculate as well. And then Fernando saying that the Don family is better than the Dungeon of Doom. Good pull, man. Good pull.
Sure. What a world.
All right, let's hit the last match we got to cover here for this evening, which saw a timeless Toni Storm take on Athena for the AEW Women's World Championship. Just to jump to the end, after Athena hit an O-face across the ropes, which was nasty work, Athena then distracted the referee and one Billy Starks, who spent a good 10 minutes of this match selling a cannonball from Toni Storm, which is just funny. Like literally, like halfway through the match, Billy's just in the back, like getting up finally, holding her neck off like a very simple move. Anyway, Billy went and grabbed a chair out from under the ring, and went to hit Toni with it, who was sprawled out, neck hanging over the apron, and which was something that was a very big talking point during this match after Athena hit the pile driver on the steps on Wednesday. However, Mina Shirakawa came out for the save, grabbed the chair, and then chased Billy to the back with it. Back in the ring, Toni went for the big package, but Athena was able to shift the weight and force Toni to kick out. Athena then went to the second rope, and it looked like she either went for a quick O-face. It almost looked like she went for maybe an arm drag, but Excalibur called it an O-face. Either way, Toni was able to catch her and counter it, and then lock in the TCM chicken wing and force Athena to tap out. James, as always, phenomenal work from these two women. I expect nothing less. I know you're upset that your Ring of Honor Forever champion has lost, but
I'm less upset that Athena lost.
It's a good loss, though.
It's a good loss. It's not a loss to be ashamed of. I'm more confused as to who the hell beats Toni. I don't know who's like. It feels like the only name left on the list is Jamie Hayter. But that would be nuts too.
I think Tekla maybe.
I don't think she's there. I like.
They got to build her.
Yeah,
they got to build her. But eventually,
but how long do you have the title on Toni?
That's a good point.
And granted,
Fernando's with you. Sorry, he's got Jamie beating Toni as well.
It's let's say I hope, but it's one of those things. I love Toni, and undoubtedly, she is the face of the division. There is nobody bigger than her in the division. But we saw when Mariah beat her, it didn't necessarily make Mariah. Like, the feud was incredible. But it more or less still felt like she was holding the title for Toni when Toni came back.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I enjoyed what she did with the title.
I did too. She had some good matches, but some of those matches, even like Mina Shirakawa, that was 100% in service to Toni.
Yeah.
So I
wouldn't say 100%. They had a lot of history. But
yeah, they did.
I get what you're saying.
But, and again, I don't want to dwell on the negative, but I'm interested to see at this point who will benefit from taking the title off of Toni. So maybe they keep it on her until they heat somebody up. There is no plan to take the title off of her. It's just, let's see how long this works. I don't know. Maybe it is Jamie Hayter, but I don't see either woman getting booed in that match. Maybe they're not going to cheer for Jamie, but I don't think they're going to boo her.
No, they're not.
And
that music's too good.
And Fernando saying it's between Megan Bayne and Jamie Hayter. I like Megan Bayne a lot, and if they chose to go her route, there's a story there because Toni absolutely just survived her. But
yeah.
And as much as we love Megan on this pod, I don't know that she's ready to win the title yet. So we'll see. I don't know. The match itself was great. I had a lot of fun watching it. These were two of the best in the company going at it. And they told a really fun story. They had a really good matchup. Athena now no longer has the contract. She cashed in.
Yep.
So where she
back
goes
to Ring of Honor with you.
I mean, they've said she's going to be on AEW TV from now on.
I know. Hopefully, because she again fucking rocks.
But I don't know what she does from here. So whether that means she just defends the Ring of Honor title on AEW TV, we'll see. But a lot of interesting things to think about coming out of this matchup.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see where both of these women go because, as you mentioned, Athena still has to defend the Ring of Honor World Championship, but she, has now 2 losses in AEW and high-profile ones at that.
Yep.
So you have that end, and on the other side, we got to get some new challengers for Toni Storm. Who could that possibly be? And they're going to have to heat somebody up.
I feel like they've gone through everyone.
Yeah. Unless Tony's got some inside information that Bailey's coming over. I don't know who's there yet. Like I mentioned, like Hayter's a good choice, especially they have history from, back, what was that? The Outcast days and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Tony put her out, if I remember correctly, the first time. So there's definitely a storyline to be told there. And then I still think, depending on how long they keep the title on Toni, I do genuinely think Tekla is a viable option. I
don't want to say no. I just feel like I need to see more of her.
It's just it's going to take a minute. It is going to take a minute. But yeah, and Fernando bringing up Willow. The only reason I haven't brought up Willow or Statlander is just because I think they're going to win the inaugural women's tag team championships.
Yeah,
because otherwise, one of the two of them should be the champion after Toni. But I think that's going to be the play there. Just to clean up the comments really quick. Fernando, bold take. This was better than Toni versus Mercedes. It's close.
Yeah, maybe from a pure bell to bell standpoint, but I think there was just so much. Again, we don't like using this word because we're old. I think there was just so much aura to Toni versus Mercedes that it's hard. It's hard. Are there matches that are better than Rock Hogan? Absolutely. But the energy, the electricity around that match just elevates it so high.
Yeah. Especially All In, too. It's such a big stage, it even adds to that as well. So, I if you like this, as a technical match, better than Toni versus Mercedes, then I completely, go for it. I completely understand. But it's tough to beat that energy, like you said.
Yeah.
And Fernando also bringing up, to your point, James, that booking failed Mariah May during her world title run. But I agree with you for the most part. It was because a lot of it was in service to Tony's return and the continuing that story. So I still personally think that run made Mariah May, and then she was able to go
solidified her.
Yeah.
It solidified her, yeah.
But yes, it did ultimately just serve to get that title back on Toni.
Yeah.
One last note on Toni. What was with the makeup? I didn't get the gimmick.
I think it was just like a Victorian era person. They were in England. I think she was just making fun of that.
There was a quick minute there. I thought she was a mime because she hadn't talked for a while. And she had like a little.
She had the wig too.
I missed the entrances.
Gotcha. Yeah. Watch the entrance and you'll get it.
You only have so many times to get up during these freaking pay-per-views.
That's true.
I chose this one. But all right, that was Forbidden Door. So I think, James, that once again, New Japan, AEW, CMLL, and Stardom as well put out a great pay-per-view, as is tradition with AEW, because I expect nothing less for $50.
Yeah. I always had weird feelings towards Forbidden Door because it felt like, let's just get both companies on, or now in this case, let's get these three companies on the same show, and that was the appeal. But AEW really has gone to great lengths to make these events feel important. Sometimes almost now at the sacrifice of what the concept of the show was, which was getting these New Japan matches and these CMLL matches in. But this felt like an important show. There were some very great matchups. There were some very strong matchups, and it was star-studded. You're having Hangman versus MJF, huge match. You're having that cage match with so many, like Kenny Omega, John Moxley, Darby Allin, just name after name. Swerve versus Okada, Toni versus Athena. These were star-studded matchups. So I thought this absolutely delivered.
Yeah, I agree. And I always think there's going to be the problem as long as Forbidden Door is this time of year where they're going to have a hard time getting any storylines going with New Japan guys just because of the G1.
Yeah.
But I think AEW has done a very good job of working around that, especially now that they've shifted away from, as you said, it kind of just being like a super show where they're just putting New Japan guy against AEW guy. And this has become more of this is an AEW show with New Japan talent, with CMLL talent, with Stardom talent. Kind of like the same way Wrestle Dynasty was back in January, I believe it was, where that was a New Japan show with AEW talent, with CMLL talent, with Stardom talent. And I think the fact that you have Wrestle Dynasty allows these two companies to do it this way instead of just forcing weird teams together and forcing storylines. Because for the most part, they were able to build a lot of these matches with New Japan talent. The one with Zack Sabre Jr. and Nigel Road itself, the steel cage match at the end of the night, it wasn't forced, but it made sense that everybody was friends with everybody else, especially with the Death Riders, Young Buck, Gabe Kid thing. Like that all made sense.
I did love, and I know we're about to wrap up, but I did love after Wrestle Kingdom and Kenny and Gabe Kid's huge matchup that left Tanahashi crying. You now have Gabe Kid absolutely trying to murder Tanahashi.
I forgot that was that match. One of the all-time great wrestling memes. I keep it on my phone just in case. But yeah, I think they've really found a good rhythm with all of this stuff. And they just, AEW, as always, just continues to put out banger after banger after banger after banger when it comes to the pay-per-views.
After burger.
Shout out for Sheamus for coming up with that. All right. On that note, I would like to thank everybody so much for watching us here at the Market Down Podcast. We'd appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. If you liked the video, let us know that you're enjoying what we're doing here on the pod, and we continue to do it. And if you subscribe, continue all the great stuff here on the channel. James and I will be back here on Wednesday to cover the first Dynamite post Forbidden Door. So you're going to want to check that out. You got the Gym Pack Zone on Thursdays. For those of you who enjoy TNA, if there are any of you left, we try to cover some WWE stuff as well. And we're doing trying to do some more short form stuff. So be sure to go check out Matt Gascon's interview with the New Day, where, as I think I said on Wednesday, he just gets absolutely roasted by them. So if you want to go watch our friend Matt get cooked by the New Day, go watch that. And we'll be trying to cover some of the new stuff in shorter form segments so that you guys can check that out as well. If you want to follow us on any of our social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, or Blue Sky, and you're here on YouTube, you can check all those out in the description below. If you're watching us over on Facebook or on Twitter, then you can check us out on Twitter at @marketdown_pod. Instagram is at @marketdownpod, youtube.com/marketdown3665. Blue Sky's marketdownpod.bsky.social, or as always, just search Marketdown Podcast in any of those search bars on your social media sites, and you can find us there. James, anything before we get out of here?
My entire Sunday was dedicated to wrestling.
It's a good Sunday, and if you like, pretty sure there's an NXT show, right? So you can go back and watch that. Before we go, I want to say hi to Phil. Philip, thanks. We appreciate it. Best one yet. Thanks, dude. Really like it. Oh, that was you. All right. So for James Asante, my name is Nick Cummings. Thank you so much for watching us here at the Market Down Podcast. Have a good one, everyone. And I right-clicked instead of left-click. There we go. Bye.